Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call good afternoon, yes, not morning. Call the Eastham Zoning Task Force to order. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, Carolyn. Good. Well, we definitely have a quorum, so we're gonna dive right in. Jackie has presented us with the minutes, which we didn't have last time, so we're doing a catch-up vote today on the minutes from October 21st. So has everyone had a chance? I think we just put them in front of you, Carolyn.
They were emailed.
Oh, they were emailed.
I emailed them the day after the meeting.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, no one read.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to accept?
So
Move second.
I'll second.
Martin, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Okay. We have a discussion today on fence regulations, sign codes, and some definitions. And then we will also, I thought we had a very productive meeting yesterday. It was very informative, and so we could spend some time debriefing on that meeting. And any other items. So with that, we also have an updated schedule here, which we have, and I'm seeing Barrett Consulting on our schedule for December 16th. So that is
Yeah, yeah,
is that confirmed? So they will be coming in with their inclusionary stuff?
I believe so.
Okay,
I sent an email to them
Okay.
yesterday to check in on progress, but they were.
okay, terrific. Okay, great. All right, without further ado, I'm gonna,
Mary, is the
Yes.
meeting being recorded?
yes,
And I didn't see the arrow on. Is it on?
oh,
Or do we need the microphones?
it's blue. Is that,
Oh, okay.
is that, okay,
Yeah, we can hit it.
I'm good.
okay.
Our buttons on there. I'm good.
No, I don't think we need our buttons on. I think
It goes to the.
it goes to the owl, so I think as long as that's lit up, I think we're okay. All right,
Wait, before we leave the
the schedule,
schedule,
yep,
the times. What
I think
are we all, is it all 10 to 12?
I think it's all tentative,
Yeah, unless.
Unless it says
This time,
otherwise.
yeah, unless we need to change it.
yes,
Okay. Thanks.
okay, terrific. Okay. Paul, you want to start or Jackie, whatever you,
Sure, so looking at the sign code, this really, I think, came from me mostly, that our sign code doesn't really deal with very well with the temporary signs, particularly the flag and stuff. Things like that signs, so that was a major thing I was trying to incorporate, and then, like most things, you get into it, you kind of start to tweak things, there's some new stuff, there's some rewording, consistency items and things, so I'll just go through it as discussion. First off, I'm adding this general info here as a reference because we did put new sign
mm-hmm,
in the DCPC, so just general, people put on notice that they should also look other section for sign stuff. Again, nothing changed here, everything black is what
mm-hmm,
is current, application process, so. Just trying to put some language to clarify what it is, and also I reminded myself when I looked at commercial flags, because that's one thing I was trying to, commercial flags are already in the bylaw as signs, which is good, it's just kind of clarify what the use is and how they should be displayed, which we'll get into later on. So just reiterating that these things need a sign. Adding in some language in the approval, so we'd be building inspector or designee, and that'll be influenced by what we end up doing with the zoning enforcement piece. So this, and I just edited this morning, so it's a little different than what was sent out, but I put this in here, building inspector designee. Responsible for enforcement. I put in the middle section here, just referring it back to. The administration section 19, because that's the piece where the fines are stipulated, and all the fines in the zone, they're all the same. All the different fines or different things, so. It all.
That's at $100, right? $100.
Sorry?
It's $100 first offense.
Yeah, max 300, that's the most we could do it for any.
What's, what's the application fee? For a sign, roughly?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Is it de minimis? Is it like $25 or is it $300? Do you have any sense?
I wanna say 50,
It's 50,
I think
yeah,
it's less than an express permit.
yeah,
I'm just thinking about people doing garage sales. Yeah,
Or
and the fee.
yeah, so that's actually later on, so the thing, the garage sales, right now. Garage sales and estate sales require permit for the actual sale. That gets done through the town clerk. But we've never. Actually, the sign is not part of it, so we've never really had.
Okay.
Sometimes they kind of get commingled and some people issue a permit, but it's never really been. Broken out like that and explicitly stated, so that's why later on, the thing I added into specific
Okay.
things that
I'll
basically
wait.
specifies that you get assigned for both of those things.
Okay.
So yeah, I added this a little bit language just to tie it back into the administration where the fines are, but then also that. um, The building inspector is authorized to remove signs and. My mind was really thinking of the. Temporary signs and the stick in the ground signs. I don't know that we'd be going out dismantling. You know. A permanent sign. But in theory, it could happen, we could.
I was gonna
we
say,
could
in
order,
theory,
you know,
you
it could
would-
be ordered that, you know, get the DPW down there, whatever, some extreme. Egregious case, but I just wanted to be explicit. With that, because this does happen. When we have the time, we do go and pluck the signs out and whatever, but it's always kind of like, where's my sign, you know, someone took my sign, where is it? It's my property. Throw them in the back, you know, if someone wants it, they can come get it. But I just wanted to put some language in there that just.
yeah, but you have the authority to do it.
Um, So, this is just rewording the. Headings for consistency, so this is sign safety and location. Just the language of installation.
Wait a minute, are 12.3.2 and 12.3.3. Are two different things. They both say safety and location still.
There's two different things for signs and for exterior displays
Got
that go
Right,
through.
got it, okay, got it.
There's no change to the exterior display, I just renaming it, so. This I relocated. And then some changes to the heading, so. Commercial advertising flag, commercial flags is actually what's in the bylaw. So just changing it for consistency. So these flags are already considered, the flags and banners are already considered signs already. This is the part that we should have some discussion on. So you have your business sign, permanent sign installed in the ground. But now we have a proliferation of,
Using tonight flags and stuff.
yeah, and they're all over the place and they're not really, we didn't have anything in the bylaw. There was a section for temporary non-commercial signs for like events and you know, things. But I didn't see where we really addressed this type of thing, so. But it's not temporary. Because they're up all the
It
summer.
could be seasonal, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you wrote it, that if someone has the idea of music tonight or barbecue tonight or something like that. But it's 20 days enough, you think?
Yeah, so this is
Well, that-
totally up for discussion.
that
I
was-
put something in there just because the issue is. If you get. So, you wanna have these advertising flags up,
Right. Because they already have their sign, they've maxed out on their square footage.
right? So this is really a bonus,
This
extra.
is a
advertising.
bonus sign, it's meant to be up for something special going on in the next few days.
Well, that's the thing, most of these are not, because they have the one that just says ice cold beer, it's out there all summer or every weekend, so that's why I was trying to think, do we? We could simply have it, you have to get a permit and you don't regulate it, you just do what you do, or do we try to put some controls on it so that they're not up there every single day throughout the whole summer? So this is totally up
Yeah,
there.
that's why when I read it, I liked it, yeah.
Well, no, I just had the question about, I like the fact that it's one sign, because we have some owners that have a lot of signs. And I just asked the question, and is this these are only in commercial districts, correct? Not in residential?
Well, this would cover the whole town, but it would cover commercial uses anywhere in town.
Okay, so I have a home occupation, I'm a tax consultant, can I put a temporary sign up for 20 days in the neighborhood?
Yes,
Well, I mean,
I mean,
That's a good question.
we never,
the way this, it's written, the answer would be
I
yes.
mean, I
I
guess,
guess the example I would gonna say that's good. Yeah, we should think through that, the landing store. On, that's just in the middle of a residential zone, so
Yeah.
it's a store. If they wanted to
And
have,
they put a signboard out front,
yeah,
advertising special.
I'm just saying, there's
Yeah.
a few things spread around town in pockets where it's like you have. Not in a commercial zone.
so. I'm of two minds here, so I'll do the restrictive and more. This is gonna come up in a bunch of things, I think we should have longer conversations about this, but I think. Opening up any commercial activity in our residential districts. We really should discuss the broad implications, because we could see things like the landing or a little this or a little that, which we've been looking at for 100 years. But when you open it up, as I've been watching the Nantucket thing, you can't just say, we want the cute little. You start opening up the door to commercial, whether it's advertising or presence or whatever, in a residential district. I think we need to have a long conversation. So that's a little bit of my concern about that. On the other side, though, in terms of the commercial districts where people, given the economics of, in our short season, I think one temporary sign is appropriate. I'd be more inclined to allow it to happen from May 15th to August 15th. I mean, the notion of just 20 days, how the hell are you gonna police just 20 days? I mean, I-
days this week, one day next week.
yeah, I mean, so I'm just, those are my two statements. I'll be quiet. Yeah.
Well, first, I think we might be able to address your first comment when we get down into the chart. This is
Yeah.
kind of all that baked into the
Yeah,
individual
okay.
districts, so we might see. As far as the length of time, yeah, at first I was thinking, well, do you just give them enough time? So in theory, if they wanted to have the banners out every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe more on Labor Day, just that's enough,
What were the dates, what was
They-
the window you had?
May 15th, October 15th.
Right,
That's what
that's
this,
5 months, that's 20, that's 1 day a week. That's roughly 20 weeks.
I mean, yeah, the 20 would be.
Why not just,
We wanted to have, I mean, you could have it. I don't think we could track which specific day, it's just, you got X amount of days, you use them however you want, if you wanna have them out there every Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the maximum. You know, people going by, that's your decision, but
would this include the I didn't sneeze, the banners that say open,
Yeah,
so they have a commercial sign and then,
yeah, the big flag,
The
the big flag that says open, or you drive by Willie's, at one point Willie's had 3 or 4 flags out there, allowed to use. It's
They had
like
a lot of flags, and then your son had flags in front of the kayak
kayak
there.
place.
Do you have one?
I,
yeah.
I'm not sure. I think we don't address the open flag specifically, so I think by default, it's say it's part of the sign, but that's something to specify.
So I'm just wondering definitionally, would it be covered in this? For, commercial flags and banners?
Well, is it different? I mean, a banner is sort of, I think of them as street front, because you want to get the drive by and want to do that. Open signs, I mean, someone can tell me I'm wrong. I see these flag poles off of the businesses that just say open.
Yeah, but then there's also like the stake with the.
There's
ballot
the
kind of
big
thing.
wavy flags and they'll say open
Yeah.
coming down,
Okay,
they say.
Could we put in an exclusion, or there's, I was just reading the sandwich side code, which did pass. And they have a statement excluding open flags.
Huh.
Which can only be on during business hours. They have, it's mentioned in there.
Because that's coming down every night
Yeah,
when they
right.
close.
Those
So
are-
I'm happy to have an exclusion for a flag that says open on floor. But open flags.
Any type of flag.
Anything that says, oh, well, to limits, yeah, for some
Well, I
limit,
mean, we got
Indicating-
just the,
the banner. Yeah, because you have one banner that's flag saying open and the other one says music tonight.
yeah, I mean, I guess I just look at maybe just your standard flag that's on this side of the building,
Yeah.
or whatever, but then you get the feather flags and the
Right.
freestanding
Like an
flags.
example, let's say you get your big sign and says, you know, Brick House Restaurant, and that's maxed out to the size, which is fine. And then they hang another sign underneath it everything, when they're open, it says open. And then that comes down every night. I would be inclined to say, let's not bother
Right.
regulating that open sign.
Right.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with motels, vacancies, no vacancies.
Yeah,
People are, I mean, that operational thing is not is an
Yeah.
issue.
but it's the big wavy signs that we're thinking about
Yeah.
getting bigger and bigger, the big banners.
I think Sandwich had a special town meeting one day, and just had
It passed.
sign code was on that, so we were
Yeah.
looking. Did they have a definition for open flag or
There, yeah, I mean, I've only read it quickly, but there was, I'm fairly certain some phrasing excluding. Sign, I don't remember if they referred to as open or operational, you know. As a business owner in Orleans, those flags are also exempt from regulation in Orleans. They don't count toward your,
The open,
And no vacancy, that's another, it's not exactly open.
and those are kind of attached to the.
permanent
They're
sign.
similar.
Usually, but to Mary's point, if you have, like Viking Shores has a sign and it might max out. But then they add another little piece down below that says vacant, not vacant, right? Let them do it that way, you know, as long as we don't
well, I think
penalize them for that.
is the feeling that open flags should be exempt. As long as they're not what we're talking about, these feather flags and things that,
open flags on the building.
They're attached.
And Caroline has a good addition, you know, and it's also whether you're open, close, vacant, no vacancy.
vacancy.
Is there one word we can use to describe those as operational signs or
Status.
status signs or something like that? You could say something like status signs such as open, closed, vacant, no vacant, or excluded.
Yeah.
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 Just wrote it,
Yeah, we can find something.
something like that, because that's, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I think that was a good point I was saying.
Yeah, it's a good clarifier for people.
And leave that out of the script.
But you would exclude are you calling those feather flags?
What are feather flags?
You know that tall ones that have been on
Yeah,
the highways.
they're
in
10
summer?
feet tall and they're waving, kayak.
They're
rental,
waving.
or
Oh, okay.
Barbecue, sometimes we just drive by them because we're used to them. But we both have noted that sometimes we really had a half dozen of them, I remember a few years ago, I don't know if they.
This summer.
This would.
They're just becoming more popular because you can
This
order
is
them
one.
Because they're doing cheap.
online,
Yeah.
they're cheap,
Yeah.
stick them in the ground, and take.
Let's regulate them now before they get
you know,
complaints.
the super rep
Put up.
wanted to. Use them, so they actually came in for the sign permit, that's one of the things that they came in for a sign permit, trying to do it right, play by the rules, but then I was like, this actually. This doesn't fit because you're gonna have them out there every day during the summer, so.
Yeah,
And they would most likely only have them like, I'm starting to think that where the.
Right on the
highway.
yeah, going down South Carolina and stuff like that, you'll see them like boom, 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 you know, ice, beer, cold beer, you know, like there'll be a dozen in front of one
Yeah, they're
establishment.
just advertising the services or what's for sale.
Like that, about,
And the super ed guy complained bitterly that everybody else had.
Right.
He's
right.
The enforcement issue was a,
But if that feather flag is just used to say open or not open,
no.
That's why I was looking for clarification.
No, we're saying a flag attached to the property. The feather flags would be a second flag that they would have.
But they're not just, like Sam's Deli, their flag, their open flag
Is out by their side.
is out, is out on the, by the
The green,
sidewalk,
yeah,
so you can see it.
attached to their
yeah,
sign,
attached to,
that's by the sidewalk.
well, can't,
Yeah.
could we write regulation that says, set signs attached to the primary business, and give some flexibility for administrative review, like if it doesn't make sense to have the sign on a building, or like Sam's. I'm just wondering, like, without us having to codify anything,
Every single.
could there be just like, any variation requires the planning board or something, not planning board, we don't know,
No, administrative.
the administrator. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we could probably just, my preference would be just to try to define what we want as a flag,
Right.
3x5 or 5, whatever it is.
Right.
Flag that, I don't think it matters if it's on the building or on the side, it's hanging off from a flagpole or something.
Right,
Yeah,
It's just, I'm trying to differentiate between that and the feather flags, which
Yeah,
I
the
think
feather.
are another,
different
the different,
aesthetic thing.
which you could, again, you could have them, you have to get a permit for them separately,
In only one.
only one.
So
So like-
that's important. The first thing we do is that we say you can only have one.
Yeah.
Second thing we say it's only in season, that should be covered. And I think the debate now is whether we think 20 days, which is roughly 1 day per week for the extended season, or do we just not put a day limit on it, say you can have one? Or would you say it can only be up during daylight hours? It's another way to look at it and say, because then someone's gonna be like, oh, do I really want to put that up and down every day? You could restrict it so it's not, because those things, I'm sure, if you live close to Brackett Road, there's 6 or 7 of them on businesses, you might start hearing them flap all night long.
They're not that loud.
No, I'm just saying they could become a nuisance if they're up all night, so,
well, the open flags, we're not gonna time limit those,
no.
No.
May through October, they're just. Yeah, because we want encouragement in the
Right.
winter, yes, right, okay.
If you're open in the winter.
So you get your regular permanent sign in the ground. You hang
Open flag.
an open flag. If you want to have an additional feather flag that says ice, beer, or just open, it doesn't matter what it says, you can have that, you can have one of those, but you get a separate temporary sign permit
Seasonal.
for that. Seasonal, yeah.
And that would be seasonal.
So then the question is, how many days?
Ian, is it around, Ian, can you put it up and leave it up for the
All
whole
that
season,
time?
or do you have to take it down every night? The idea of taking it down every night, I hadn't really put much thought on it. Might be interesting, because then at least if you really want the sign, you put it up. As opposed to just sticking them in the ground and letting them
And
sit there
leaving
for
it.
3 months, 4 months.
Are we putting too much, are we putting too much of a burden on small businesses? I'm just,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't like the visual of all those things, but I think, well, if one per business might not, for a season might not make me crazy, but
yeah. But we both agree that when you drive by like Willie's and see 6 of them, you're like,
no, that's,
circuses in town.
and then if that replicated all up and down the corridor, it would be horrible, but
That's right. If you have it for the entire summer, I think that's what you're gonna end up with.
that's what I'm saying for the businesses, the seasonality of the businesses, they clearly, music tonight is gonna draw people into Caroline's or, whatever,
There, all that stuff,
whatever.
they've got this, everyone's coming back from the beaches and you wanna, the barbecue or whatever
Yeah.
you're trying to attract people for, and they say something that's distinctive, I think it's a good idea, but.
Yeah, I think stay one per business. Can stay up. May 15th, October 15th. The
One,
banners,
the
flags,
band,
One feather,
feather, banner, flag.
then they get a flag and they get a permanent sign.
well, the flag would be the open,
You get a sign, you have your.
No,
you're not
flag,
counting.
They
you
have
have
stuff
a-
up now, and what
Yeah.
Paul's talking about, so are we in agreement that we think the 20 days is too limiting, and that we'll
Yeah.
just say leave the season?
I-
And then the
I
next
think it's
question
too-
is, what do you think of, so does that mean they stick it in the ground on May 15th and leave it there until October 15th? Or do you
Or
think
do they
it's put
take it
down
down?
every night and go back up again?
I don't like the taking it down. I mean, conceptually I do,
I'm
but
just putting it out there.
I'm just thinking small business. It's just one more thing to have to think of, and, they got young kids. opening and closing the business, and they may or may not remember to do it, and
Yeah, like I just drove by my daughter's store and she only has a flag up that says open and she wasn't open, so I kept going.
Dad needs to look at the flag.
It's a birthday.
I'm probably the lone one on this one, but to have them up every day for that entire block of the summer. I think you're just screaming resort. I get that resort feel. You go
Yeah.
to certain areas, and it's like flags every day, everywhere you go. Even if they're limited to one per business, it's summer. There's a sign there up. We could allow more than 20 days, but I guess I'm probably
Around the clock. What do you feel like about around the clock?
I've got no issue with around the clock because I don't think they make that much noise. But
And at nighttime, you're not really.
Yeah.
Looking, I mean.
yeah, I wouldn't make them take it down. That's kind of a pain. But we could increase it from 20 without having to go the full block from May to October. But that's just me.
And
It makes the administration of it a lot more difficult when you put a number of days on it.
Yeah, that's what
Because
I
just keeping
think.
track of that, like if you wanted to.
Like on
Go down and say, hey, I've got a complaint that your sign's been up every day, and the person can say, oh, it's not.
Unless a neighbor is taking timestamped pictures every day. To issue
Except for the
their
sign.
well, you
Yeah.
can see the building inspector on October 16th, just going up and down Route 6 saying. Season's over.
Yeah, but Kevin, I think that my problem with the 20 days is it would end up being enforced. Not randomly, but not consistently, because we just don't have a way to do it.
We don't have a regulation now, so I propose that if you do it this way. It's easier to put, and then if it becomes an issue later on, you can add that in, if we see they're running all the time. I would think we want something now because they're a lot, but.
And the point is, if this were to go on for a couple of years and we had to tighten it up because it was.
Yeah, we can always tighten it up
We can
later
always
by
tighten it
saying,
up.
these signs are intended for special events, you're having a sale, the lobsters are in.
Yeah.
Log Cabin's got the corn and they have the yellow flag out, we're gonna.
So let me ask you a question. Is it per business or per property? Cause
Well,
like.
it's per business, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if you have like, I don't know, the Ace Hardware Basco Grill, is that
Yeah, there you could have.
seven flags
Or
out
the
there?
rental place could have, you'd have 6 of them there.
And
Yeah, and so,
Yeah, again, just for
I'm just-
discussion.
They're one parcel, but most of those structured as condominiums that are.
different businesses.
yeah,
Right.
so. And do we care then in that instance? Well, if you got multiple businesses, those flags tend to obscure what you're trying to do, because you don't even know
Right.
what the business is that you're coming from. I mean, do we care if they probably want them right on the road?
Yeah, if we do a setback,
I believe there is setback.
we'd have to.
I'm just raising the issue. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, there was placed a minimum of one paragraph.
Yeah, there's a setback of 2 feet. From the property line.
I mean, that's another issue, that the ones on the highway. Most likely are in the highway layout.
Yeah.
Right.
But we've got but if there is a complaint or it's a safety issue.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something we would look for when I get the permit, is like, show me where your property line is, where you put the sign. I mean, we do that permanent sign thing.
So Kevin, the issue of, let's say we said 40 days, which would be 2 days roughly a week. We're still gonna have the issue, you're still gonna have the issue of drive by town is gonna be flagged,
Right.
because at any time someone's like.
Yeah,
"Oh, no."
my thought was it was going to at least reduce it because it's not likely that every sign in town is going to be out there on a given day.
Right.
But it's an enforcement issue, so
Well,
I'm not that strongly.
by virtue of
Either way.
needing to get a permit and being limited to one, you might in fact be limiting. I mean.
Yeah.
Some folks might
Mhm.
it might just.
No,
be
I'm
like
not wedded
a hassle.
that strongly either.
That's a good
Yeah.
discussion.
All right,
So strike the language days.
no Kevin's concerns. That we will come back.
Yeah.
I mean, we can always if it becomes a real issue, we can come back.
Yeah,
But I think it's a good issue that they are becoming more prevalent, so.
Before we move on, So what are they called? The feather flags, are they now are they covered in there?
Yes, that's called
What
commercial flag.
what do you call this guy who goes like this?
Why, that's
Wacky
a,
What do you call it?
waving inflatable.
Oh,
Yeah.
and, oh,
We want to put it, so we have a restriction on
Oh my
big signs
God,
with
oh my
fans
God.
on them?
Yeah.
I believe that would count as an animated.
Or lighting, like, can this sign have lighting on it? Can it have LEDs embedded in it? Can it have a fan blowing on it? So we could say something that the sign has to be just, no lights, no mechanism. Get rid of the used car sale guy,
well,
right.
I just wanna
the
find.
used car sale. woman.
Must be a word that encompasses the feather flags and these guys and.
I think
I can come up with one, but I don't think we want to put that in bylaw.
those crappy signs. We don't want any crappy signs that are there. This is giving me, I'm going back 40 years now. You probably all saw it on the Southeast Expressway. They built a self-storage.
Oh, yes, big block.
In the big block,
Still got blown off.
Yeah.
till used to get shot.
Yeah.
Night of the
Consider the
week.
neighborhood.
Kids
Those
were-
those are your neighbors.
You gotta consider the neighborhood, it had to be shut.
There'd be a kerfuffle in the newspaper, next thing you know, it'd be shot again.
And I do remember those big storms. I do remember closing the highway and blew off the highway.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Uh,
I'm joking about this, but I hope that there's not a ability for, do we have?
But I think the idea that we
So,
talk about any
can I-
type of mechanism, sorry.
We do, in the prohibitions in 12.4. Provision 3 is flashing, rotating, oscillating signs. Oscillating, thank you, oscillating.
Flashing, rotating, oscillating,
Or signs,
electrically
Electronic.
controlled, okay, great, we're
So-
all of it there.
And the
wavy
definition,
arms, no.
That's the
definition of a sign is pretty broad, so it's an advertising device or insignia. Lighted or not, freestanding or attached to or painted on a structure or other object designed to identify items for sale or to advertise a principal use or activity for the property used to attract attention to commercial activity. So I think by that definition, anything like those wavy guys, that would all fall under a sign, which in case it should have a sign. If you want to put one of those wacky waving guys, that's a sign, you should have a temporary sign permit.
And it would be your only one.
Right, so you'd have to make a decision, you want
Open.
a feather flag or a waving
Like to
wacky guy?
paint on the wavy guy.
Yeah, in the
It's only a feather flag.
in the spirit of helping create more jobs on here in Eastham. You really want to keep the ban on human signs? We have the
Yes.
human people, the sign flippers.
Is it?
It's in the pro-
I had a niece that one summer, her job was to stand up and, with the lobster.
And then they.
Waving it on the car.
They're prohibited under our current zoning.
Yeah, so now that we've opened up the can of worms.
I don't think, I would like to
It's
not
employment.
open up that can.
What's that?
I'd like to keep that can closed, so we don't, but I do, maybe Jackie, this is, first of all, Jackie, is there we should conclude some sentiment, but since we're a couple months away from final, could you send us the sandwich bylaw? That would be really helpful, just to see what someone else did and,
We haven't fully digested it yet. Paul just shared it this morning, but this is something that was approved at their special town meeting last night
okay?
with some updates. But I can certainly.
Yeah, that would be really good to do that. And the other thing, when we flags, something that went to the Supreme Court and the city lost recently was City Hall Plaza, there's 3 flag poles. And they used to be state, city flag, and then there was like a third flag that could be like whatever. And they they put an LGBTQ sign up during June, for example. They then had a group
So,
who, either a religious group or a white supremacy group or some group that was very controversial, say, we want our month.
yeah, I remember that.
They got rejected. It went to the Supreme Court and they got overruled. The city had to redo its flag policy because you can't discriminate. So I don't think we're getting into anything here, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah. The town did it several
Town,
months ago.
oh, it
There's
did,
a flag policy for town property.
but what if someone put a Nazi swastika or a Confederate flag on, we said that you can have a flag. Do we wanna be
Oh, we're talking
specific?
about business. Oh,
You can have open, someone puts something very controversial,
I think
I think you're right.
they would be construed as political
Street
signs that are
property.
protected under state code.
First Amendment. Somebody wants, let's say just right to it, say, let's say they have a Confederate flag. Somebody wants to hang a Confederate flag in front of their gas station. On their flagpole,
that's their right.
that's protected.
But in our business, I mean, here we're defining it, you can have an open, the business is open flag. It's not like you can have any flag. I mean, I'm just asking the question.
But your feather flag would be,
Your feather flag could be,
So, let's boil this down. If you have a flagpole in front of your business, the American flag, or maybe two flagpoles, do they fall under these commercial signs, or is the flagpole separate from this?
These are for the commercial signs, so any,
So someone has a US flag, and then they've
Yeah,
got
that's
a
a-
Confederate flag, and then they've got the LBGT flag underneath that. They have
to be
three
an
flags.
interesting person.
I know,
those would all be.
they're all protected. They're not commercial signs, they're just flags, okay?
So someone can do that. I mean, a
But
whole.
then if they put
a homeowner
barbecue
can
tonight,
do that, but
then
can a
that's commercial.
commercial property owner do that? Okay, I'm just,
But maybe if one of those flags was saying, you know, ice cold beer. You know, you have the American flag, the ice cold beer flag, and the Confederate flag. The ice cold beer flag would have to come down because that's commercial.
because
You're
that's
advertising-
commercial.
You're
Okay.
advertising a good or a service.
We had a Confederate flag that said ice cold beer on it.
Now
That's
we're,
it's a commercial
it's commercial.
Sorry,
advertising.
Oh, God.
we can't regulate that.
I'm just asking the question, but can we, for the operate, we're calling it, I don't know if we called it an operational sign, or we had some
We'll find the
like-
phrase.
building open or closed.
Status.
Could we call that a status sign? So yes, someone could come in with, we're open with a Nazi swastika around it,
We could
but
say open for Nazis only.
yeah,
Okay, I
but.
think we're getting a little bit. into
No,
the
I'm getting,
But-
but I just wanna,
But you did bring up a good question, and this case also came up in New Jersey, where somebody put a American flag that was like 200 square feet.
Feet.
That was like 40 foot by 40.
yes,
feet.
yes.
Do we have can we put a limit on just generally? Or is that also protected by the First Amendment? Like if somebody wanted to put up a giant sign on a flagpole where you could see it from Wellfleet and Orleans at the same time, because that's just one in New Jersey, I've
I
seen it.
think you can regulate that.
Can't regulate that.
Flag. Say that's where you get that giant flag at exit 6, whatever it's called now.
Yeah, at least that's on highway, yeah.
At Burger
No, but that's
King.
a giant flag for the
Yeah,
fast
Yeah.
food
You
place.
can't regulate the display
the,
there.
the
Okay.
big flag, with Burger King.
Oh, yeah.
Exit 6.
But can we regulate the size of the open flag that we're talking about here?
Yes,
yeah.
And have we?
We haven't written the.
No.
No, we haven't written the definition here, but we could.
No, so that's a question. So what I'm hearing is we want to exempt status signs and flags, open, closed, vacancy, no vacancy.
And that exemption
And
can
then-
say something that the open flag can be no more than 20% of the size of your regular sign or something like that. Do it that way.
We'll,
instead of
we'll
getting-
find a
Why
dimension.
don't you find a
Yeah.
dimension for us, yeah? But it shouldn't be just
Well, to regulate the sign, to have a limit on
the size,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, like Mary said.
Your open sign
You
can't.
can have a regular sign like this and the open sign's twice as big as your regular
Yeah.
sign. That's a good, that would be a good catch.
okay, all right. But we can keep,
Signs. All right, so temporary commercial signs. I added, so we had a section that talked about real estate signs, building property rental signs, contractor signs. I added in temporary commercial signs.
Wait a minute, can we go back to street signs?
Yeah.
I know the town has been, DPW has been going through and updating the street signs and all the streets with the standard NUTCO, whatever this is, signs. But Jackie's consistently said, but if you have your own existing cute little PG street sign, you can keep that. And this would suggest that they can't.
I think that was more of an enforcement thing when she said, I mean, I don't know, I
No,
took it,
I took it that she was saying that as a kind of a commitment to people that, you know, that were upset that,
Well, they can, if we want everyone to have an official street sign, that's what we're gonna be looking at, we're trying to find.
right,
but they have
Yes.
it both.
but then they could have both, they could have their own, still keep some little.
I think it's that you can't on your street refuse the regulated sign.
Right.
Because the
But it
fire
would not-
department needs to be able to
But
find
it
you.
wouldn't prohibit the cute little,
Yeah.
you know,
The names of the people who live on the
yeah,
road.
the names of people who live there and the old
Yeah.
beach road sign and, okay, I just want to be sure I'm not reading it to say that they can't do the 3.6.
Just a couple of things, switching into select board. And then temporary commercial signs, so. This section deals with the open house signs and so forth, sold signs. So this is already on the books, there are limits of what you could. Time displayed for that. Number 8 is scan out for discussion, but. I am seeing, the short-term rental signs in front of, they're on private property in front of the house, but they're up all year. Is that something we're concerned with? So, and again, just tying it to the same time frame as the. Summer season.
So with Delmar and these folks, the rentals do go year round now. People be 2 or 3 days here and there. They're going to argue that when clients need to find the properties. Down there where they want to find out which is the Delmar house instead of knocking on the wrong door. I'm just applying the advocate for them. But on the other hand, you see the signs sitting there all the time and the house is dark and it's just advertising for,
Mhm.
we need a vacation right now.
Mhm.
So I would be in favor of getting rid of them. Unless they come in and ask for a temporary, but but there's still somebody who's gonna make a case saying, I rent this house on the end of a dirt road and it's tough to find. I would be okay if they came in and got a special permit just for. Something that was tough to find because.
But you're not really booking them, you're not booking them because you're driving down a.
Oh, I know, no, I'm talking about for Delmar, it's like, you rent something from Delmar, you're coming down from Quebec. And you're up on a dirt road.
And you're on GPS.
No, I'm just saying there's a case for. I'm just making the advocate for both sides here.
Yeah,
Um,
but I think May 15th to October 15th is pretty generous, because I think you're getting. All of the summer tourists and probably 90% of the shoulder season. So. Like, what percentage of the people are left over that are that wouldn't get,
I'm agreeing with doing
Yeah.
it, so I'm just looking for, is there an exception? What would be the exception to this? So if someone comes in.
Well, it's just a matter of locating the house. I think that's up to Delmar or
Yeah.
whatever it is to give specific directions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
I mean,
So maybe it means better signage on the house, because I went down these dirt roads yesterday with beach plum and all that, I understand. The concern, but I also think there's another way to do it
Right,
besides.
I agree, if it brings a
signs.
commercial aspect into your residential neighborhood, I'm.
Yeah, so maybe it's just a better signage that gives the street, the name of the number of the street or something like.
Alright, I think
Yeah.
we go forward and just
Yeah.
put the time limits
Yeah.
on them.
I
And if you really want to go after Delmar, they went with the triangular sign. So
Yeah,
that we need the Pythagorean theory to figure out if it's legal or not.
I got 5 of them on my street all year long.
Wow.
I go by them every single
I
day.
got
All
one.
the sales, the flat,
Yeah.
the triangular ones.
They're up all year. No one's renting those houses except in the summer, but.
So,
I mean, all those signs are out there now, no one's getting a sign from. They technically, even without this, it's a temp, they should have been. I guess it just, if someone was really insistent, like we are doing this year-round rental, I would say. Get a permanent sign.
Yeah.
And it's not, if you're telling me it's not temporary, it's active year-round rentals, they can come and get a permanent sign. At least we've
And I think this is easier to regulate because there's only like 3 companies we can think of.
Mhm.
AnitaVacation.com and, you know, stuff, big ones. So, yeah, I'm very happy to see this. We don't need an exception.
I have to say, Martin, you keep bringing in, you know, I've talked to this one, like feedback. If I think about the feedback I've gotten in the last 2 months, everyone is asking me, are you gonna do more about short-term rentals? And it wasn't quote agenda. But that seems to be the hot button issue that people are still really,
So we could say we made it less obvious.
we made it less obvious. It's just, you know. Okay, can we move on? Yep.
Another question. So temporary commercial signs. Going back to the example that we've had before. On Salt Marsh, the art gallery. That's 3 houses down from.
That's gonna come up the next page.
It is?
Yeah, we'll get to
Okay.
we'll get to a thing.
That
that,
wouldn't
like,
be a
the-
temporary commercial sign?
We need
what
a
they were trying to
discussion,
It's the home business side.
the home business issue. That'll be the next page.
Okay.
We will have to talk about that.
All right, so this is 2 new sections, so as I said before, there already is a requirement. For a permit to have an actual yard sale or an estate sale, it's not, but it doesn't really address the sign issue. So. This is really just using the language that's in the town clerk's permit. But trying to just apply it also to what the sign usage, except for.
Can we have the permit? Do you think it's $50? I mean, like the fee for these, I would think would be, we could either waive it or have it de minimis, like in $5 for yourself. Like someone
Like
having
a yard sale permit?
$50 to put in a yard sale sign, I'm gonna be like, yeah, wait, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
so you already paid, so we don't have to have a fee for the sign. You're already paying a fee to the clerk
Right.
for the permit, so we could
Right.
just, so this is really just to make sure that people understand, we have something in the sign code that says there's the permit and the sign, and she goes hand in hand, so we don't have to have a separate.
Good.
And so this, yeah, so basically 1, 2, and 3 are, oh, sorry, no, 1 and 2 are basically what it says in the permit from the clerk's office. Number 3, again, up for discussion was, do we want some limit on where the off-premise signs can be in relation to the events?
You're a typo there, it's not 2,000 square feet radius. Just 2,000 foot radius.
200.
You get S.
We cut out within 2,000.
I don't,
You just put the foot marker that half day.
Oh, even the
Right.
2,000.
It should be linear feet, but,
Radius, yeah.
um,
I mean, my property is 200 feet long.
Yeah.
If I was gonna have a yard sale. 200 feet is just not.
But this is 2,000.
2,000.
I'm saying it basically, you know,
So it's like,
Gonna get most people toward an intersection.
mhm.
and what about this, is this, it's not yard sale signs, but the free, and if somebody puts a couch out and puts a free sign on it, we don't really care about that, do we?
I don't want to try to regulate.
Don't wanna try to-
I don't, I mean, I
It's
don't
not a yard
think
thing.
trying to regulate that, but that's kind of what 4
number
is.
4 is, yeah. Where there was that 10-speed bike sale all summer long on,
Yeah.
it's the same intersection.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think we all know it, like, we just have to say it.
I think,
It's gone,
and I-
for sale's gone.
I actually think, you know, if you had a nuisance thing, like what if someone had a car or a boat or, I mean,
Well, we,
There was a car back on Ridge Road, closer to Samoset, that
had a foot.
they had a for sale sign for like 3 days.
yeah,
So that's what number 4 addresses, so do we want to allow?
I guess
Or you could do, we could keep 4 and then kind of going back to putting a time frame on it, like, yeah, if you wanted to have a couch for sale, it's not a yard
A
sale,
1
but
week thing, right?
you can have it out there for whatever, 10 days, whatever.
Yeah. Well, the more egregious thing really isn't the sign. If somebody puts a couch out and it's there for 3 weeks in the rain.
It's rain, yeah, who wants it now?
Yeah. That's
Well,
really,
this doesn't address.
yeah, this.
I mean,
No, that's right,
the couch.
that's right,
So-
yeah.
We'll penalize them for the
Just
sign and
sign.
the crap, couch is still sitting there.
Kylie said you never put anything for free. You gotta say, you gotta put some number on, even if it's not worth anything, because then people,
Right.
no one's gonna take something for free if they think it's worth something, then they'll just steal it.
Okay,
Yeah,
When we sold that house,
Even though you just wanna get rid of
I had
it.
a nice folding table like this and I put a free sign on it. And every time we left the house, because we're going back and forth from Metro West down here, and I'd put everything on the table. And I came back from a trip up and down, and there's somebody folding up the table, putting it back. But I couldn't blame him because everything was gone, except there was a table with a free sign on it. And I was like, no, no, be careful. Well, on number 4, I would tend to say, I would put like a really short window on that, for no more than 48 hours or, something like that. But if somebody wants to give away the couch for free or the table for free, that. That's sort of, we see that all the time. I'd rather not make it illegal for someone to do something that they do anyways, but we all agree that a 10-speed bike for sale for 3 months was a little bit.
So we could say signs advertising household goods, personal property. Not associated with a permitted yard sale are allowed up to X days.
Yeah, I think that would be.
next days.
10 days, not, yeah.
Why don't you come back with a recommendation on the number of days? Just think about that.
Start
Okay.
thinking it, like, it just didn't come with the wheels.
Do,
Brakes are separate.
So again, real estate sign, estate sale signs. This is just mirroring the language that's already permitted. Again,
Okay.
and that's actually where I came up with the 2,000.
Yeah.
That's already in there, so.
Keep it the same number.
Paul, that the earlier point, on item 3 on the state signs, it says it's 2,000 square foot.
Oh, yeah, you have to just get that, yeah.
Just some renumbering that was required for the sections, changes here. And so then this,
Now, the Carolyn issue, we should discuss.
so this is already in the bylaw, I just kind of trying to clean up the chart a little bit. So the first thing is. Do we want to have an ability to have an off-premises sign or a home occupation?
And this is the reminder that there's somebody on the end of Salt Marsh Road that has a home business, but they want to have a sign out on Bridge.
Right, and they
Just-
sent something in to this group asking. to
Yeah.
consider.
Yeah, that's we know that there.
well, okay, let me ask you. My ignorant question. There's the road, which the town owns, assuming like Herringbrook or Bridge. Is there a right of way adjacent to the actual road that the town owns?
Yeah, it fluctuates, but yeah, pretty
In
much,
general.
the town road extends beyond the pavement.
Sometimes it's up to 10 feet.
Right, right,
Right.
okay. And so is that considered? Because the homeowners often consider their property running to the side of the street.
Right.
They don't realize it. So which are we trying to say? Can it be in the right of way? If they get a permit, can it be within the right of way?
I would say, no, not in the
No.
right of way,
Okay.
should be on a private property, whether it's
And if
theirs
they're-
or.
And if there are mailboxes in the right of way that are for mail, can someone hang a sign on their mailbox, even though that mailbox is
I would say no,
in somebody else's property?
yeah, you're going through all the iterations that
I know,
happen on software.
I
So
know.
my view on it would be no.
okay,
And technically, the mailbox shouldn't be there, although everybody's. But.
what do you mean the mailbox should?
Well, most people's mailboxes are in the
In the
right
right
of
of
way,
way, they shouldn't be
technically they
there.
should be.
Oh, but the post office would tell you it has to be.
Post office.
They like it because.
They'd like it
get
to
out of the
be, but
truck,
it's not legal.
Yeah. They hate it when they have you have to go to the door.
Well, or you're thinking, yeah, like, so my mailbox along with all of my neighbors are at the end of our road.
Right,
Because the post office does not deliver down my pothole road.
right.
And so,
That's more of an operational choice, but not legal.
but that's, so where they approved us to put mailboxes is not on someone's personal private property.
The
The
post
post
office?
office.
See, I don't, do they have the Do we have the authority to improve on town land? I don't think they do, but
I don't
that's,
know, but right, but
yeah.
when we bought our house and had to put in.
Yeah, no, I know.
And we said, postmaster, where do we put this?
I think this is more of a practice.
They
than-
said,
Yeah.
next to that person's post.
See, before we get into the details, I just need to say about home occupation. I am very, very concerned about in any way in this environment until things settle down, opening the door to commercial activity in the residential district, because am I offended per se by a little sign that says gallery? No, but the problem is you can't just say we love quiet little gallery owners.
Home people now.
This,
They're changing.
but there's a lot of home occupation, but the way our zoning was done is you get 2 spaces maximum, you get 1 space for 1 employee extra.
Yeah.
And the notion is home occupations may have, as you would call it, a retail aspect in the sense that someone comes there and they purchase a good or a service, taxes, whatever they do. But it's a home occupation, they're doing that by appointment. So,
And I think the guideline says that there should be no more than so many cars.
Well, the existing,
The
yeah.
existing one.
so
But-
my concern is,
So 40.
we've got this whole thing about if you allow commercial activity in a residential district, it's not so much this one little gallery that's, I'm gonna lose my mind over, it's that you're opening up precedent. We have conversations about Airbnbs and other things. Are they commercial activities? We were sort of waiting to see how this all shakes out, but I don't know. I have a real concern about opening the door to someone has a retail activity that people are driving down someone's street, not just by appointment, there's 5 appointments, but they're randomly driving down someone's street. So that's my 2 cents.
I mean, are you suggesting we not do home occupations?
No, we have home occupations, and we have rules for that.
Yeah.
This is an expansion to allow them to have on-street advertisement for the home occupation in which the entire zoning was designed for them to be low impact, appointment only kind of businesses, not the general, oh, isn't that interesting? Let's drive down there and look at some paintings.
But where I'm going is that if we have no problem with the presence of a home occupation, it's the sign that you're concerned about?
No, it's opening up to general public activity versus a home occupation where you're providing services to a client, an identified client that's making an appointment.
But I think our current zoning definition allows what you don't like.
Limits it.
It's limits, right, and there's a limitation, but it does allow it.
Yeah, I think if we get to, I agree with Mary about a lot of topics. So, you get into, if somebody is refinishing boats or something like that in his backyard, he has a sign out, boat works.
Right.
I don't know, I agree, you are pulling in commercial business, but on the other hand, we're all very much in favor of seeing a gallery, or if there's an artist that has a gallery in our house. Or they teach lessons and they want to help people find.
So if I'm understanding, it's not, what we already have is that a home occupation sign can be on the owner's property. And
Right.
2 square feet is a very small sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-intrusive. The more, the introduction of something that is intrusive to the neighborhood is the potential to now have an auxiliary sign
And they had.
at the end of the road that could pull
someone
somebody off the main road and go, oh, interesting.
Is that sign just to help people find them because they were looking for them and couldn't find them? Or as Mary said, is it people that were leaf peeping and said, oh, let's drive down and check out this gallery? People that own the gallery want both.
Right.
And that was.
But our artists are now all over in galleries and pop-ups. I mean, we have a whole industry. And quite frankly, if everyone can have galleries in residential districts, we could be taking galleries out of commercial districts. I mean, if you can.
What if this sign was smaller?
It's not the sign, it's just we're cracking open the door to a commercial activity. I can hear, Ben Zander saying, nope, but you allowed this happen and you allowed this to happen. And we, I just think we're on really
Well,
questionable legal, not questionable, but
from an economic development perspective, I think from that, let me just talk about that for a second. We want people to be entrepreneurs and to create small businesses. We need that as part of the economic development for the town. With the definition of home occupation, so at the economic development happen in the home, we put limits on what they can do. I don't think that we want to put a limit on, the number of home occupations. We limit the definition of what they can and can't do, like how many parking spaces, how many people can work there.
I think deliveries, we
Yeah.
minimize, it's deliveries are like one,
I
5 per
forget.
week or something.
Paul and Jackie can pick it up quickly, but I think from an economic development perspective, we want more of that, not less.
but we don't want the retail traffic. We in residential, I mean, people, how many people are working from home anyways? I mean, if you think about home occupation, probably 50% of the population is. But you
Right.
don't necessarily want everybody putting a shingle out at the end of the street.
But let me
My wife used to have it before we moved down here, for years. She had a home occupation, both in Framingham and Maynard there. And she was upholstering and chair caning and stuff like that, but it was an appointment thing that she had a website and stuff like that. They'd see it on the website, they'd call the number and say, hey, I have a chair, blah, blah, blah. He'll bring it by Tuesday at 10. And they'd come in, take the chair, talk about what they wanted to do, person would leave, and my wife would promise it, week from now, 2 weeks from now, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was an appointment only kind of a situation. There was no retail aspect to it at all. Now, in our case, we just had a 2 square foot sign, which is really tiny, on our property, and so it was easy. But that I think is fine, and like Mary says, I
And I think
think
that-
people out there probably have something like that cooking,
Yeah.
you know.
But Karen, what about, and I think the same idea that you're saying there, Kevin, is a service or something like a gallery, like if I'm creating, I'm creating pots, I'm creating, whatever, wood turnings. Things that I create in my own shop and I want to sell,
I make jams and jellies.
jams and jellies. We're all sort of like, yeah, that's sort of what we want to see. But what if someone else is just importing, a crate full of coffee mugs that say Eastham on them? And they get a crate from China every month and they have a sign up,
Believe that is not an allowable home occupation.
It's not
because
allowable.
it's not
Yeah.
manufactured on.
because they're not making it on site.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting that to Mary is that there's only certain things you can do, right? So it has to be something that you create or a service you develop.
Like if I wanted to have I'm a beautician and I want to do that in my home. So clients come in.
And Mary's not pushing back against any of that. Mary's pushing back on the idea that
Sign.
if you're
that
putting a
drives
sign out on the
traffic,
main
right.
road, redirecting you down to
You
side
can
road.
advertise for random people, not appointment only people coming in.
Right.
And you're generating traffic, and it's like, maybe the gallery would have 10 people in the summer and that's not gonna be the end of the world, although all her neighbors don't want it, so we might have a kerfuffle there, but I mean, just think about some occupation we all would hate and a sign we would all hate. I mean, we can't discriminate.
Right,
So
except by definition, it has to be a good or service.
You could have a tattoo parlor.
tattoo parlor.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you wouldn't want general public driving down seeing tattoos here.
Motorcycles rolling in.
but you're right, we can't discriminate.
No, we can't discriminate, but by appointment only, you manage it.
Is that what our definition says? Home
No.
occupation?
No, but this is the idea of putting a sign on a main
But
thoroughfare to redirect them.
No, but it doesn't, but it's, let me just had it just now. It doesn't, but it applies. An occupation or profession which is conducted in a residential zone, which is carried on in a dwelling unit or building or other structure to a dwelling unit and is carried on by a member of the family residing in the dwelling unit
Right,
for residential purposes and is secondary to the use of the dwelling unit for residential purposes.
right.
So
So there's nothing.
But
about
we're talking about the sign, and it sounds like the concern is the auxiliary sign
On
that has the potential to generate traffic on a side street where we would not generally direct
Traffic,
window shopping traffic or
Yes.
for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
because that's, you have no, if you're the runner, if you're the one running the shop, whatever you're doing in the house, that type of sign, you can't control the traffic.
Right.
Right.
They're not gonna see the sign, oh, let's go see. And
Right.
you don't have, there's no way of knowing how many cars you're bringing down the road.
Sure.
Whereas if it's only on your property
Right.
as more of yeah, maybe it's advertising, but basically it's like, this is the place kind of thing. It's, you are taking phone calls from people or word of mouth, whatever it is, you know who it is, you know when they're coming.
Yep.
And since when you're applying for the sign, you have conditions like no more than so many vehicles a week or whatever.
Right. But
You
without
know
getting into the use, we have the allowed.
Oh, no, right,
uses.
but then just trying to make.
If that home occupation sign, the one that's allowed is on my property on Bridge Road. The random strangers who show up at my gallery are only driving onto my property.
It's good for you, right?
If I am down Knoll Street where I live, down a dirt side road. And I allowed an auxiliary sign. I now have opened up the ability for general traffic. Across
In addition
the
to-
road.
Let's go down here and see what the shop is like.
Yeah.
So it's, the potential for increased traffic flow
That's exactly
off
Mary's
of Main
point.
Yeah,
Street.
yeah.
Yeah,
So if we,
very valid concern.
I just don't think we should have this provision in here. I think what we have in definitions and a purpose. We can write, I mean, I can write a letter to when we make recommendations, we can speak to this couple and maybe they will comment. Maybe they will, come out to a public hearing and ask for
Yeah.
this, but
And then there, the economic point on, then my gallery can't thrive. Because I don't happen to live on a main thoroughfare.
Except that there are other ways for you to advertise a
Right.
gallery.
Right.
right,
Aside from looking for random people who
Happen to be
who
right
happen
there.
and say, oh, let's go here, and then go down and,
Right.
yeah.
yeah, because a little tiny sign on the road isn't gonna do that.
But on the main road, it would.
It's not likely your next big sale
Me-
versus
could.
free
On
advertising.
Bridge Road. it would,
Yeah.
I think.
Meanwhile, if you go more rural, we go up to New Hampshire and Vermont to Maine, you'll see these signs everywhere.
Right.
You're driving someplace and it'll be like so-and-so's, so or whatever, homemade out and stuff like that, so. So there is a rural aspect of, if someone has, what if they have a farm stand? They can put a sign at the end of the road saying fresh eggs.
I was avoiding using that as.
That's
well, I was gonna say, this
You're hoping I wouldn't go there?
fresh eggs, fresh cut flowers, a firewood, what else? There's a whole bunch of things that probably are technically in violation of things. If we endorse something, we've opened the door. If we've got an issue, if there's a few small signs around and it's just, we haven't enforced it, that's a different policy issue. And
Our standards are probably something we should clarify.
I don't know, but it's.
they,
Well, with the character, the quaintness of the character of the town, I like being able to drive down and see, there's a house that has fresh flowers, where's that on the corner of Kingsbury and Bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the farm stand
It's on
for
there.
flowers is right there.
Right.
It's not
Yeah, I
down,
assume that's their property as well.
yeah.
Right,
But
versus if
not
I wanted a farm.
But
stand,
if someone else had
I
a
would
sign
give that.
saying a farm stand, because your farm is at the end of a dead end, nobody would know that you've got
Right,
eggs and bananas, whatever
Right.
else you're growing in there.
are we addressing farm stand signs?
No.
Okay,
Oh, Jeff Paul doesn't want to.
Well, the
yeah,
farm stand sign
gets into a lot of,
is part of this, but the farm stand itself is another issue. It's great.
right.
and
Okay,
Troy's
For another day.
been dealing with that all year long.
all in agreement on taking.
Yeah. Just take it out.
Moving right along.
Yeah, we've gotta,
So this breaks out to Mary's earlier thing, we go by each district, so. For the commercial districts, I've added in. The commercial flag banner as an allowance. The one per business.
And that's permanent, so that's the,
Oh, yeah, sorry,
Permanent and temporary.
right,
you should probably make that temporary because it's still
We're gonna get rid of it.
seasonal.
Well, here's the
well, we have two, so
D10 was
But you wanna call them commercial?
Well,
flags.
I'm gonna skip down, it'd be easier to look at, so if you go
Yeah.
down to the ECSD sections.
Yeah,
We have sandwich board signs, not proposing any changes.
Yeah.
Just we have them. In season and out of season. And I was trying to figure out how do we, for consistency, do the flag banner thing. So do we want to have a permanent, if I want to have a permanent board all year long or not?
no, I thought, didn't we just have, why would we, if we made them all seasonal, why would we make one permanent? Oh,
That's a question.
do,
I'm just saying we have the ability for someone to put a sandwich board. I don't know why we differentiated. This has just been in the sign code, so. When I saw the sandwich board signs, how we did that temporary, permanent. I just want to be consistent one way or the other.
You still have the 20-day limit on, but
Yeah, that would come up, that would come up.
where does it say sandwich boards, or are we just interpreting these?
Up 50.
E6.
I find my sense.
Oh,
do you have both a sandwich board sign, yeah, the
For this, you could, yeah.
yeah. And then the one, I'm not sure what, so if you, Paul, if you decide, what's a commercial flag, what's the 1.9 versus 1.10?
Just permanent versus the seasonal. If we don't want, we can get rid of permanent. I just put in there, just
Yeah. I would feel that like we would delete 1.9.
yeah, yeah,
And then when you get to the sandwich boards. They're a minimum size of 30 by 42.
I mean. A sandwich board in front of, when we did the DCPC and we had all those internal things, we thought people had day-to-day specials for today or whatever, they'd be sandwich boards, but they were all. I mean, if these aren't, if we're not creating a loophole that someone could put a bunch of sandwich boards out on the road. I kind of don't care about internal sandwich boards in the sense that,
What
I
is
don't-
internal?
I mean, like next to the, next to your property, the front door or something where the special, Basco Grill has the specials for today out on a sandwich board or someone,
Out on the
some,
street.
yeah, if it was not, if sandwich boards were not out on the street, people weren't using them as a workaround.
Then they should be only one.
If we limit the wavy flags, I don't want people tend to find workarounds, well, I can only wavy flag, but I'll do sandwich boards. I don't know,
They already have this.
I don't care.
I'm sorry, 1.5 versus 1.6. 1.5 doesn't have the one sign limit on it, where 1.6 does. What's the difference between 1.5 and 1.6?
Summer and winter. Vaguely.
yeah, that's it. Like I said, this has all been on the books for years and I'm touching.
I would feel that the sandwich signs don't need a seasonality to them. And that but that you could only have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause it's just, we're adding levels of complexity here that might be
Yeah,
unnecessary.
yeah. And
Well, is that, so you suggest just have one that goes year round?
Yeah.
So
If someone wanna say like, if the
It's an
deli's
allowance.
open, it's open,
It's open.
Yes.
if a restaurant is open
they can,
and half of them closed, so they're not gonna have sandwich boards out, so.
yeah.
Cause it seems silly. The I6.
They gotta get a permit for the summer, they gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as long as we had the one per business. Now a business can have a flag that's flying up high, and then they can have a sandwich board that says, deli's open or something.
So the sandwich board is not part of the. And to be considered a sandwich board as a temporary commercial sign.
You're
Well,
staying temporary on a permanent basis.
You can make it,
Saying
you can make
if we
it.
want to clean this up, we get rid of I6. And so we just have I5 and it's a permanent sign.
No, I think you keep it as a temporary sign, but it can only be out when the business is in operation. So it is
And there's
temporary
only
in that
one.
nature, so
One
that.
sign during hours of operation.
One sign during hours of operation.
Why would it be
It's
Temporary.
No, we're saying
Well,
no.
we say it would be temporary because it's temporary, not seasonal temporary, but temporary meaning it's only there 9 to 5.
Yes,
It's all.
So you take it in at 5 o'clock.
Well, sandwich board by definition is not attached.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But if no one's telling me to put it away, advertising's advertising, I'm gonna leave it out there until the wind blows it down. Right, so let's say they have to be put away at.
Kind of goes along with outdoor display of goods right now, if you're taking it in and out. Selling Adirondack chairs and you just got them up, take them in and out, there's no permit required for that,
Yeah.
it's nothing.
Right.
Take
I
the
also-
sandwich board in and out.
Yeah, I also think this may be my thing, but the sandwich boards also a little bit of a walking hazard. So to have people leave them out at night is not a good thing.
Yeah. And they're adding the limit, because somebody else they could put one flag up, 6 sandwich boards,
Yeah.
we've seen that before.
Yeah.
So I think,
So how do we wanna treat sandwich boards?
I think we're treating it as one sign available during business hours, but you can have them year round.
yeah,
And the only final question I have is, do we really need to make people get permits for them? Can we have a rule,
but not a permit.
but not a permit? And I just don't know
I
if
agree with
the
that as well.
administrative exercise to get a permit for a sandwich board is excessive.
It sounds excessive.
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying to figure out though, do we want to treat them like they're temporary signs? Because there are
Yes.
sandwich boards out in front of Willie's all summer, along with all the other flags.
I don't wanna see them on the street.
But there's only one.
There's only
and they gotta
one.
Find a way when it's closed,
And only during business hours.
you know.
So you're saying there needs to be a setback?
Setbacks and everything are like, would apply as well, but I think we're sort of very close. I think it's, I agree with Mary. Let's not require a permit for it. It's not that big.
How do we then let the business know?
I wasn't
what the
planning
rules
to
are?
edit.
I mean, we don't have to get a permit.
I know,
But they just slap on a.
We're into it now, so.
but
I mean, I agree that putting the permit process and stuff like that is this one level we really don't need for
but
that.
it's, but that's currently there. No.
Right, I understand. But I'm just trying to make sure that the business is aware that yes, they can have this thing throughout the year. So in that regard, it's permanent, but you have to take it in when you're not open. And there are rules that go with it.
But
But how is that?
Yeah, it's not permanent. If you're-
Well, I mean, I look at permanent in the sense that
Year-round.
you're getting it year round. As opposed to temporary, which is 2 weeks or whatever, certain months or what have you. But it's temporary in the sense that if you're not open, shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But how do the business get informed of those rules if we don't have to stop by to get a permit or whatever it is that they?
Well, because then when Jackie sees 5 or 6 sandwich boards in front of a business, it says, you're only supposed to have one, and you're supposed to put away. Just,
It's
close to enforcement. right?
well, it's an enforcement issue, exactly. So
So what I'm hearing is. Sandwich board signs, no permit needed. They can be displayed only during all
Operating hours.
and they do not count towards your overall sign limitation.
Well, there's only one
Only
sandwich,
one
one
sandwich.
sandwich board, operating hours.
But only one.
Per business.
Someone's gonna have to put some money in there.
I think, something you said. We use temporary to mean two different things. We use temporarily 6 months a year, 4 months a year.
Seasonality versus
Seasonality.
operating.
But we also use temporary meaning it's physically movable, physically
Yeah.
changeable. We have to be careful when we use the word temporary and permanent. That whether we're talking about time wise or physical structure.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so that's a good point, and the other iterations of this, I kept going back for it to what we call a seasonal, so going back to the flags.
Right.
We're assuming that everybody basically wants them in the summer season because for obvious reasons, but. They may not, somebody may want to put one up in around Christmas, or
Right.
whatever, any holiday. So I think we just
Maybe as you go
dug a
through,
hole in for this, for the.
Maybe though, I mean, this is sort of like, this is sort of evolving, this sort of like I wish we had such market demand at Christmas stuff, that signage would be an issue. And maybe if we have a new town center sign, we might want to revisit this because if we are having Christmas festivals and Halloween festivals and everything else, but right now we're kind of a ghost town.
So I guess kind of to bring it back to the initial problem that I saw was that these feather flags and advertising wacky things,
Yeah,
they're not temporary signs because they're up for extended, so they're really seasonal signs. People want them up during the season for most effect, but
they're always.
but they're not temporary signs, like I'm having an event and I'm gonna have it up the sign up X to X, and then the event's over, it's coming down. We have that covered. It's just these other things that it's not. So it is a seasonal, but at the same time, somebody may want to put one of these things up around Christmas time for not.
Or think of like Food Eats. On Route 6. They're open all year. So for them to have a temporary meaning physically movable sign that says open all year,
It says pizza.
or that says pizza all year, or, that's good for their business. Right?
Right, we want them to be.
You want them
able to do
to do that.
well, they do have the regular sign.
They do have a regular sign,
Regular.
they could do a sandwich
Regular.
board, they could do a flag. I mean, I'm, again, you're back to, after October 15th, and before May 15th, you're basically with people who live here, and it's,
Well, but we're trying, economically, we're trying to encourage more people to be here those times of year. I think.
But I don't think the signs are gonna do that.
yeah,
No,
I don't
but-
think the signs is sort of
But
an
it's
issue.
part of the, I just, it's,
But those businesses who are open
year round.
can put out the open sign,
Yeah,
right? What can't they do?
It's just these
It's like
fluttering
feather-
feather.
It's the feather flags.
Oh,
They can have the sandwich board, they can have the open sign, they can have their standard
Stuff.
sign. But it's these seasonal.
We're sort of making the assumption that there is a season in which they need extra attention driven toward their business.
which
And
they,
with the assumption that outside of that season, they don't need the extra attention because we already know they exist. That's a big assumption.
I think it is a big assumption.
Well, I think you've got, because most of these signs are on Route 6, you've got drive-through traffic during the summer season. That they're not catching just the locals, they're catching
Right,
people up
Right.
and down.
right. That's what I mean. They're trying to get that attention.
But I think the issue with feathering flags is we put so much time and effort into the aesthetics of what we were hoping
Right,
that Route 6 corridor would look like. And I think this notion of feathering flags would probably not be our preference, but understanding for, 90 days in the summer that, the economy is so dependent, you sort of go, but do we want that aesthetic
yeah,
12 months a year?
It almost sounds like a local break from the.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it is an aesthetic
they
thing.
they
when you
still
look
have
at
the
it.
sign, still have their
Yeah.
primary signs.
and the open sign.
And the open sign and the sandwich board, so
I think there's options, they have lots of options right now and.
Okay. So as you go through, Jackie and Paul, just thinking of the use of the word temporary,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
what I'm
think,
hearing is that these feather flags and that type of thing
would be
not
seasonal.
be permitted outside of the Memorial Labor Day.
And so,
Not Labor Day.
And,
Veterans
and,
Day.
one of the things about coming out with this is maybe in the public hearing process, and
Yeah.
we've had a change
right,
things.
Right.
We may just, like cottage colonies, there was 4 college colonies that the ownership structure was such that we couldn't have anticipated the unintended consequences of our rental thing. And when it came up, we regrouped and we had a change, and
Yeah.
we may find
yeah, what we're doing is doing
yeah,
I think
yeah,
if people wanna push back,
It's a good point.
just like.
you know,
I would like to see this, the temporary thing change, because to me, it doesn't mean in the day.
You'd rather call it seasonal.
Right. Yeah,
well, maybe, I mean, I think Paul and Jackie, there's seasonal, there's operational hours, you've got a
Yeah,
couple
maybe
things.
we'll-
about-
Yeah, we'll do some.
Why don't you
research
come
to
back
see where
and
else we
see
can
what
find.
standard language,
Push it down.
because,
So up to speed on signs.
well, signposts, okay. How about, what would you like to do next? Is there a few we've got a half hour, so I wanna be sure I'd love to get through these things. We've got setbacks, I've got, pretty.
Yeah, so setbacks. The setbacks is covering a few different things, and this is just formatting attached accessory and rules and things, formatting it into a table. Trying to put, so the campers, the rec vehicles, trailers,
That's the new language.
Yeah, the one I noticed was that the campers, 12 feet from this. Because there's several campers that are in town that basically. They're 4 feet off the street, they back them into the driveway and that's all they can fit. It's one on Bridge Road. So that's where I think we get pushed back. I think the side setbacks is sort of, you're respecting your neighbor. But someone's gonna say, I can't fit my camper anywhere, I back it in on Bridge Road and it's from my garage door to the road. Well, on Bridge Road, I'm thinking of redirecting.
Yeah, I have neighbors,
It doesn't bug me, but when I saw
a
it.
big one that, yeah, they would.
It's not.
But I thought mine was on the road, and when I literally went out and measured. Knowing,
Oh, how many people you get?
yeah, and it's 12 feet isn't that much. I was like really surprised when I started measuring 12 feet going, oh,
4 steps, yeah.
yeah, that's not that much. I mean, I got a trick camper on a boat stacked, and I'm still,
We're coming after you.
I'm an 18 feet, I'm 18 feet back.
12 feet is roughly these two tables put together,
Yeah, yeah,
This is.
maybe a little bit here.
this is,
it's not much, and then you may not own all the way to the pavement, your lot line might be another 8 or 9 feet. You know.
Yeah, there are gonna be some that are gonna have trouble with that.
Yeah, so that's what caught me when I read it the other day, so I don't know, I think we leave it there, but.
Maybe we get some pushback, but I don't know.
well, I think we have the language in the other section about special permits, so if we can't comply.
Right.
And it's really gonna come up to the neighbors, like if you apply for a permit and the neighbors aren't complaining, you're not
Yeah.
any traffic, any sight lines, so.
And this is just geared towards you own one of these vehicles and you're storing it, like this is not at all addressing, like I have friends, family
Right.
that come for the weekend and they're, it's a whole.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
So fences. I think we agreed on the height of the fence, 6 feet or less, it's whatever that, you gotta be set back, whatever that height is. And then anything over 6 feet is a structure, so that would be subject to, just like a detached accessory structure above 12 feet.
Are we-
Fence.
I don't mind looking at this. Are we gonna come back to fences again, though?
What do you?
No, for the draft, because we gave Jackie a ton of feedback. And there's just a couple things.
Not to bail on you, but this is my hard stop,
Okay, so next.
so I'm gonna let Paul handle the rest of it.
Well, we can certainly come back to it, I think. My comment is. I think it's gonna be difficult to regulate the landscaping piece of the fence.
Yeah.
I know that was a concern, but
I agree with
The
you,
only way we're
I
gonna
think it's a
regulate
nice to
is-
have.
the only way we're gonna regulate is if we have a permit for a fence. And if we start, I mean, that's just a lot. It's a lot of overhead.
But this doesn't get us, how does this setback get us, I don't mean put the landscaping, I think we should obviously think about. But we talked about, this is sort of what the sides and the rear have right now, the 12 feet. but we had been talking about this sort of notion that if you did nothing, or you put a 4 foot, whatever, picket rail, whatever, no permit, that's your right. But if you want to go between 4 and 6 feet, then we were asking you to do something in the front, just in the front. If you're gonna go to 6 feet, then there was gonna be setbacks, potentially landscaping, and I thought an application for a permit, but
Right, well, that's what I'm saying is I think that has to be, I gotta think through that a little bit. I
Okay.
think processing fence permits
A lot.
could be a lot. And that's the only way to really get at the landscaping piece.
So when someone has a 3 foot fence, it's gotta be 3 feet out your property line, 4 feet out the property line, 5 feet up, and then if it gets more than 6, you need a permit. So are you saying that if it's really, if it's at a certain level, you're happy with it?
well, I thought where we left it, that's why I was asking, and we can, for time reasons, we could maybe come back with the draft. I thought we gave Jackie feedback, but one of the feedback I thought we gave her was, okay, if someone wants to do up to 4 feet in front of their home, whether it was vinyl or wood, rail or picket, we just didn't want to get involved in that. But if you're going to 4 to 6 feet in the front of your home, then the two things we said was, I thought we said you had to get a permit, but maybe we didn't.
I think we did the setback,
We did a setback and
and then
then,
after 6 was a permit. So I think we had 3 steps. We had less
Yeah.
than 4, you could
Yeah.
go all the way out to the edge, no setback.
yeah,
Between 4 and 6, the setback would be equal to the height, and greater than 6, you need a permit. I think that's the 3 steps we had.
and the 4 to 6 could not be, well, anything over 4 could not be vinyl.
Yes, we did that. I was
We did.
disappointed not to see the vinyl stuff. I don't.
Well, we can, again. I think if we're gonna. I think you can put language in there about the materials, but I think it's gonna get cumbersome to require. Permits for certain fences. I don't know, I just try to look at it like,
But you're saying greater than, like we can give up on a 4 foot vinyl fence. There's only a certain type of fence I'm against, this 8 foot solid vinyl fence at the street level. And they're popping up everywhere, right? I drove to Chatham the other day. There's a new house got built in Chatham. There's a quarter mile of it on one side.
Milton is like
I'm
wall,
sensitive to it
a
personally.
wall of,
So,
wall of vinyl. I'm just,
so, alright, in that scenario, if someone wanted to put an 8 foot fence, no matter what, vinyl or wood. Along the front, along the street, they would have to be set back 8 feet, and if it's at an intersection, 15 feet for a sight line.
Right.
and I would,
We're not solving the whole issue, but we're not putting it directly on the street. But then if we're gonna say, I guess I'm just trying to figure out the way to manage this, so I think when we get into just, you can have these solid fences, but then they have to be broken up with landscaping in front, but only if they're certain height, that's the part. It's
Okay.
I would rather not get into that. If I think someone wants to landscape, they want to landscape it. Can we put a simple ban of saying solid vinyl fences greater than 6 feet are not allowed on the front?
I don't think it should be 6 feet. I think anything over 4 should not be vinyl. I mean, because I'm looking at 6 foot fences a lot in vinyl.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it creates
on
the
the
same,
solid core. If
it's the
a- if
same
it's-
wall.
It's a white picket fence,
yeah, I,
made of vinyl, I can't tell the difference.
no,
It's the solid core fences.
it's just the wall
Yeah, the wall.
of shiny,
We're on the-
vinyl, and it's. And Paul, I think if you want to get away from permits and away from landscape design, I mean, if someone has a 12 foot or an 8 foot setback, quite frankly, if they don't landscape it, nature's gonna landscape it for it. It's gonna be great. You know, I mean, we'll have shrubs, but it'll be green.
I mean, we can put in that language and we just see what happens.
I would like to put the language in.
Yeah.
We're not trying to regulate, I mean, it's just saying it's prohibited, so I think if we're
Prohibited
trying to get
you
into
need a permit
permits
anyway.
and only
Yeah.
maybe sometimes
Yeah,
that's when it gets tricky. So what was it was solid panel,
solid panel above 4 feet, it would be, well, I mean, above 4 feet, what we're just saying, you know, up, you can go to 6 feet. Between 4 and 6, you can have a wooden fence. But over 4 feet, we're trying to prohibit vinyl materials,
so
And
Is
solid,
this
So
just
mine
in
is-
the front or is it?
Just in the
all
front.
Just in the front.
just in the front. And I don't like them coming out the side, but it's like,
No, I'm looking at my notes from that.
and we talked about,
We have the pictures as well. There's
we
like
talked
a
about
bad
not
example.
front, but what would do? What was the language? We had great language last week. I called it,
wait, solid panel vinyl fencing along the street frontage
Greater than
street
4 feet.
frontage.
Not allowed.
greater than 4 feet is great.
You know, I think I've never seen a solid one less than 4 feet, so it's a basic ban. But if someone found a solid, I guess you're right.
No, around the corner from me, he's got a white picket fence and it's all vinyl.
Oh, picket is fine.
Picket.
But there is a solid fence that sort of, people have a scalloped fence like this and it's just this high. No, I know,
I don't-
I'm okay
I
with that
don't-
too, yeah. So I think that
It's just the wall.
greater than 4 feet, solid vinyl,
So that's,
not allowed.
you can put that into the prohibited uses section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then I could probably put a,
pointer there saying,
yeah.
Okay. That was the setback? Is there any other issues on the setback we want to talk about? I know fencing will probably come back to us with new
So
language.
that,
Okay,
yes, that
All right.
might be everything on setback.
okay. And then, um, storage trailers? Did we discuss this? Oh, this is a storage trailer. This is a storage trailer.
Yeah, so. In the top here. Well, but. Yeah, so when you go into. It talks about the campers. In District A residential right now. But it actually doesn't say anything about campers in the other. Districts that are also residential. So that was kind of like. If we're gonna address this residential, do we want to clarify it for the old codes, like Seashore District is residential uses are allowed, so you have people who want to store the campers or their trailers and so forth. And also in. What are we, residential limited, seashore, water resource, those are all. Of the districts where residential is also allowed.
I think it should be inclusive.
And so when you go to those
Yeah.
sections now under uses, it's just not
Okay,
addressed one way or the other.
Okay.
So if we do this, it would be apply to all of these, and then we're adding in the so these would be allowed.
if you can't apply with the minimum setbacks, then you need a special permit.
Right.
Which means, without a public hearing, provided by the shared common lot line have been notified and post.
So storage of these items isn't allowed use by right. In these districts, as long as you're adhering to the setbacks. If you can't meet the setbacks, you go into. Special permit.
and ZBA, you've put ZBA in here as the enforcement, right? Because it's not going. Do people have to go to the planning board for a permit for this or just?
Well, no, so that's the other thing. So right now, do we want to have a permit? If you can comply with the setbacks.
Why do you need a permit?
I don't think you should need a permit.
Yeah, only need a permit if you can't have the minimum setbacks.
Is there a limit to the number? Can you have 5?
Doesn't say anything right now. There's no.
I don't,
Or a boat. Camper,
no.
Boat and camper together.
and where are your jet skis?
Yeah, there's always someone who's got every toy imaginable.
This says
and,
storage of a
backyards.
camper and or trailer.
Yeah, so this implies multiples.
I mean, I think that's okay. They get the setbacks.
Yeah, I think if you got two boats in a mobile home and they're all in the setback
Yeah.
now, I mean, again, this could go to the select board and they could push back and say, no, they don't want
I
to.
know.
I would be less restrictive at this point, and then you can always tweak it as the years go by. But there's people with multiple boats. I mean, at the corner of bridge, the beginning of bridge, when you turn
Yeah.
in from the road.
Like I said,
Oh, yeah.
commercial, 2 or 3 boats there all the time.
Well, we're not touching boats at all here, so,
But you could have, 2 different sized mobile homes and a trailer and. Or, I mean, campers and.
Are there any examples of multiple campers? Mobile home, camper,
There's one on Herringbrook,
where they have more than one?
two. I guess you'd call them mobile homes. The kind that go, like on the back of a truck. But they're detached from the truck, they're on a support.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, I've seen them, yeah, they're,
so if we can only think of one,
I'm not worried about it.
yeah, let's not put a number limit on it for now.
Right.
No, I don't think so either.
yeah, not to get into this, but is it just an enforcement issue of when people use these for, their fourth bedroom or whatever? How do you deal with that?
I'd say it's kind of gray. It's like, I mean, absolutely, like, no one ever should be. I think. When it becomes a permanent situation, that's the thing, it's like, how long? What I've seen is, when they're starting to hook up the RV to the
Septic.
septic, that's like,
Oh.
no matter how many, no matter any time period, but that's kind of like one of the things we look for. To try to
The
differentiate.
seashore has a rule, when you wanna go camping at Race Point, you can only be out there for so many contiguous days. For that particular reason, because they know that your storage tanks have gotta be full, you gotta go empty them. Otherwise, it's just, and so that extrapolation to the driveway is, oh, that's my 5th bedroom in the driveway, we don't use the toilet, they come in the house. But you don't wanna allow that, because now you're putting.
Now you're actually-
Septic
Yeah.
system. So I would say if you're going to do any restriction, you'd say if someone is camping in your driveway, that there's a height limit on that. Measuring days.
But I don't think that's a zoning restriction, I think that's a helpful.
Would help, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I never really thought of it that way as a camping, because there's a general bylaw that I think prohibits camping in the open.
When you go on private property in the backyard.
Yeah, I don't know, I have to check.
Like I have good friends, they have a reunion every year for like 3 days, there's 2 they have 2 more campers show up. One in their driveway, one side of the house, and it's 3 days and they're gone. And like, that doesn't, people are driving, the people that are touring, on their bus, and they stop to see a friend on Cape
Yep.
Cod. You're gonna stay in their camper in the driveway for 2 days, and move on.
So,
I don't.
So we don't have an enforcement mechanism. That's where it comes down to, if someone is making that complaint, then we go out and say, well, it's just like you're chasing it. How long has it actually been there? Are they hooked up to the septic?
Right.
Okay, then that's something we can address through Board of Health, but
We don't want it to be seasonal housing for.
So we-
somebody who's working.
yeah, we have, I'm just wondering whether it's the storage of campers we're regulating here.
yeah. that's
We're
what I'm saying.
not
This
in-
doesn't
we're not
address
regulating
it.
use.
Yeah, they need one.
Okay,
Colors.
so are we good with this?
That's a-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Unless you wanna add a word to say. it
One.
Shouldn't be habited, or something in storage is not being
Or
habited,
unoccupied.
it's unoccupied or not being. Habited.
Storage of campers on residential property.
Well, we have already prohibited uses of temporary structures. Camper tents, house trailers, campers, huts, portable, semi-portable
Okay.
buildings.
Okay, it's already in there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, we got,
That's all I had.
how about did we do this one? Storage trailers? Storage trailers? Storage trailers, we didn't do storage trailers.
Storage, yeah, sheds,
Storage units or whatever we call them. You wrote trailers, storage trailers, we should,
They're storage,
pods or something. Container,
containers. Containers have been classified as sheds.
I think I was meaning to, what we just talked about, the campers.
yeah, we did, but this is the,
Containers,
container.
Yeah, I wasn't anticipating talking about that.
Oh, okay,
but
well, you
is that
gave it
still?
to us, no?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's attached
It was
to
in
the
the
main email.
That
It's
might-
not a,
There was an accident?
I mean, we can talk about it, I just,
Is it this
I
ready?
might have missed it, because I know when I read everything yesterday, I was like, oh,
but it's on the main email. It's not,
Yeah, I just
Like a
printed, I
PDF.
just hit
Part of the
print.
agenda, yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
well,
do you wanna talk about it, or do you wanna wait? If you've got,
I haven't changed anything
okay,
on it, so where we left it was. This would. Prohibit them,
Mr. K,
it would prohibit them, basically, unless they're associated with a. Service trade. In which case there has to be, that falls under service trade regs, has to be set back and concealed. Landscapes.
so this is all new.
So it would say, under prohibited uses, storage trailers used for any purpose in those districts are prohibited. With the following exceptions, if it's incidental to
Yeah.
construction or in connection with a service trade.
Okay,
and you've covered the details of the service, if it's a service trade and it's allowable, then you have regulations that say it has to be set back, screened, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
because Paul, when you mentioned this, that are used for the purpose of storing goods, materials, equipment, warehousing, or prohibited. Even household, I think you should include household goods. Because somebody could say, oh, I just keep my extra sheets and pillows out there, you know.
Winter clothes versus summer
The
clothes.
goods implies things I'm getting ready to sell, materials are on a
Say
builder.
household or commercial.
Equipment means I'm a landscaper, but we're just trying to keep the compulsive shoppers from storing all their.
So maybe it's
extra things they
household-
buy at my daughter's
Household
store.
goods, yeah.
My daughter has customers that have. It's like, they'll be leaving and they're like, oh, these are going right to the storage trailer.
So I used to work with a guy that he and his wife would twice a year. House about it, go into the trailer and they take out, okay, here's the winter clothes, put the summer ones back in. And they weren't much for seasonal decorations, but it was that type of thing. It was
Mhm.
a very big one, but that's what he used it for. They didn't have a lot of space in the apartment there. So they were allowed to, the landlord said he could use a storage trailer. And so it's not just specifically for that system.
so under service trades. No outdoor storage no outdoor storage of service related materials or equipment is permitted on the premises unless concealed from view of neighbors at street by. Ceiling fence enclosed with said materials and equipment. So. And actually, I added this into our application, so when someone applies for a business. They have to say, is this a home occupation, just regular business or service trade, and then do you have storage? They say yes, then we're gonna ask them for,
Do you feel this covers it? You happy with this where it is now?
I think,
You,
it solves the issue of,
because you would feel the calls.
Well, you haven't been able to enforce things, because.
well, the issue is people that want to use these as sheds, because they're. And I think this is kind of solved in reverse, with trying to define what a shed is from. Together instead, so just.
And I like having the carve out for local businesses again, you know, it's a landscape or, I don't know. Long as it's concealed from the street. So the average person. Like Mary and I, we could say. I don't wanna build a shed, I'm gonna put this in my backyard and screen it, that's still my big. Unless I,
Yeah.
which is good with me,
I
I
can't be enforcement unless, we're never gonna know who's doing it unless we get complained about it, and then you say, okay, it's just related to your service trade, or what are you doing?
but I don't have run a business, so. All right, I'm good with that, I think we covered that.
Right. We have 10 minutes left, so what I would like to do is, I took a lot of notes yesterday. Um, I, I think that there were a lot of good issues raised, and a lot of interesting ways of coming at some of the concerns we have about housing size, et cetera. So I've asked Paul, I wanted to sort of dissect these with all the ideas and have just a conversation about those, so we can't do that in 9 minutes. And I haven't even sat with Paul. So I do think before it gets too long, we should do that. And we are meeting December 2nd. And I know you had some definitions and maybe some things will come back to us with final language like fences or something. But maybe we can come up with, Paul, we can look at all the ideas and try to do some pros and cons and think about how we might approach some of these things. Okay,
And the zoning administration.
yeah, and the zoning administration, you gotta do a follow-up with us with your final thoughts on that, okay?
Can I ask a question about, we did have a win from when Copeland said, let's reduce the max,
Mm-hmm,
regardless of what we decide on geographical areas. And by the way, I sent out a text to 13 people last night, around 10 o'clock. I had 6 or 7 responses by this morning on people, other homeowners, good cross section of retired school teachers and other things, people that are friends of mine. And I got a lot of good feedback, and there's a different feeling for different parts of the town. But everybody said they thought the 6,000 square foot max was really crazy, really, really too big. Like if we're trying to address this issue, this is the low hanging fruit.
okay,
And the same idea. Um, we won't go into the whole other discussion.
No, but we
yet, but I think
Yeah.
whatever we do, this should be an easy.
no, there's about a dozen. And including, do we look at that chart again? So, no, I agree. So we'll do that next time. We're gonna have your administration, we'll come back to fencing. Then we've got inclusionary zoning,
What's still open on fencing?
just
Just,
to see
You-
the final
you-
language,
Okay, yeah.
because I think we
we tweaked a lot.
we tweaked a lot. Let's look at the topics again to see where we
Anything of those.
exclusionary, we've got on that. We've got to defer a couple. Site coverage, we're gonna talk about. The zoning officer, fence, campers, sign code. We've done that. The only one I haven't seen, Paul, the motel college colony conversion bylaw. Oh, that was gonna be, we're still waiting to see whether we can add timeframes for, and we think we can.
Yeah,
That's the
only
issue of
thing-
tenure.
Yeah, the only change would be to add in that they have to be
Well,
someone's permanent.
So let me ask a big question, and we probably can't get to it. We have been putting in standard language for 4 years when we've been trying to incentivize long-term rentals, saying they can't be short-term and leases have to be at least 90 days. We did that because earlier advice was we couldn't mandate year-round. So we were trying to carve out like disincentivize short-term and hopefully incentivize long-term. But now that we're getting clarity that we can in fact mandate, I mean, should we be going back and looking at other things we did? I mean, I don't even want to pass my lips because I don't want to think about the process, but we put a lot of this language into the DCPC. And that's just an interest, and there may be a bunch of reasons why we don't reopen DCPC again, but I'm just saying, can you just think about this tenure issue? Because I know in the motel colony conversion, in a lot of things, we put this language in it.
Well, the issue with that though is that, yes, you're gonna convert this use to residential. You have to be year-round rental or owner occupied.
Yep.
That's the part where, yeah, I'm gonna owner occupied, but I'm not actually It's still my vacation home. It's still
I'm
my-
still not gonna rent
So
it.
that was the issue I was trying to clarify is can we actually say this has to
Be
be,
leased. Or,
well, it has to, I guess, what do you do when someone says,
yeah,
I'm gonna own or occupy,
Yeah,
but I don't
I know.
actually live there.
yeah.
I still go to Florida for X amount of time. So do we put some language that said this has to be the primary, if it owner occupied has to be the primary residence or something like that?
Well, it has to be where you go.
Or,
Yeah.
so that was actually the only thing I was trying to address. Because it just leaves it open that it's my,
Right.
it's still my vacation. I have any language.
And do we have that question out to Carolyn? Or is it?
I think it was kind of wrapped into if the ADU bylaw, which says you have to rent it year round and it has to be occupied.
If that stands,
If that
stands,
by, then we could go on maybe.
okay.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard from them at all. No, okay.
I think that trying to mandate where people stay or live is impossible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
That's just actually, I just said still open. Do we want
Yeah.
to address that at all? So,
And so is there anything else on our, when we looked at our work plan list, is there anything else missing that we haven't talked about?
I mean, Claire,
Things we deferred.
clarity on the, the ADU and the tiny homes and anything coming out of seasonal communities. If we're under the gun to get anything approved. But listening to Carolyn, if they not gonna approve the regulations, hopefully by the end of the year, January. She said to us, the finalizing of the regulations should be the triggering for compliance. But I think we probably
I think that's 2027.
so if it's 2027, so tiny houses and some of the other things that are in the undersized lots, we would come back with, when we have clarity.
I wonder, and it might be too soon, but I wonder, what's the impact of all the zoning changes that we made? Is there any kind of developer interest? Is there anything beginning to percolate a little bit on that?
Well, I think Paul has been working with two developers who haven't pulled the trigger yet, but with the new DCPC regs, I'm thinking of Cape Associates and Brundage, and I was incredibly impressed with the way you've been able to navigate through those projects and get them pretty much to comply, the sort of in front, parking behind, architectural style. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I've been
Housing.
Hmm?
And adding housing.
and adding housing. So I mean, those are the two that come to mind.
What's the Brundage one? I'm not familiar with that one. I know the Cape Associates is the capabilities building.
Yeah.
Brundage is across the street, right? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, they're on the corner of Oak County.
Well screened lot.
Yeah, so he's looking to redevelop that whole site for his business operation and also add housing. And we've been working with his team of designers
Okay, good.
and I think last we left off, we had got it to where pretty
And-
much fits in the.
Yeah.
And when it comes to town square plaza and tea time. Are we gonna write an RFP for that?
Yep, we're working on it now.
What do you think the timeline is for that? Is it a single RFP or one for each property?
I don't know if we're gonna break it out. Working on the tea time.
And wasn't there an application?
I don't know when the time frame is. I think probably beginning of the year after the holidays. I don't know.
They have a draft. And is that going to come through this committee in any way, or is that, what's the path for that to develop to the public?
Not through this committee, perhaps, I don't know for sure, but I know in the past, staff kind of developed an RFP, then we've group of folks from the community, boards and community, whatever, kind of review it, get input, second opinions on it.
I've been getting a lot of questions, both from people on ZBA, every time I query people on zoning, I try to say, hey, what I'm doing, and I get a lot of questions on what's happened. So the short update is you're working on an RFP, end of year type of stuff will be the first draft, and then we'll have some sort of public forum for people to get their input on
I
it.
think as Brundage and with the planning board is gonna look tomorrow night at Cape Associates, as those begin to move forward, it would be great to do something so that people in the community know that
It's happening.
there is something happening.
Something good
Yeah,
happening. Well, maybe we, being sure that someone from the Hubbardston Independent looks at those stories. But wasn't there an application for, next to the leather good, I forget, there's another shop.
Yeah, there's
up that
another one.
way That also was doing something that was real good for the DCPC zoning. I can't remember.
Yeah, they're looking to redevelop it.
Right.
It's a limited scope kind of project.
Yeah. But still good.
Yeah,
And you got the bookstore, right?
that's,
That's what we're talking
Yes,
about.
that's
the
what I-
little books, oh, that's
I
what,
mean, it's definitely good to redevelop it, and they're trying to use it, I think.
Too
They
bad that-
kind of, they could do more, it's just. They just wanna open a bookstore,
Too bad they don't want to put an apartment.
which is nothing wrong with that necessarily, but with our staff discussions, we're kind of trying to make sure they understood, like, you could actually do a whole lot more, and maybe you wanna plan. Even if you're not gonna do it, like, plan to maximize the use and the type of building, maybe you don't wanna put a second floor, but. Design it so you can later, or kind of thing, so, but. We're trying to make sure they're aware of what their options are, but right now, they just kind of
Okay.
wanna do what they wanna do.
Will we get them so that the setbacks, the parking in the rear, the landscaping? and the
Oh, yeah,
front,
all that's.
All the design, so I think to one of your points is, I think it would be great to have aesthetically a great product come out to kind of set the example. Cause I think until a few of these projects materialize and they see parking in the rear, or they see landscaping, or they see certain other elements, we can maybe crow a little bit about,
Yeah.
this is why it's different. But anyways, we are
Two other
3
things I
minutes.
wanna make.
Oh, okay.
We are gonna send out a letter to all of the landscapers and trades folks and everything, thanks to Jackie, because she used the power of AI to gather all of the contact information, so that was beyond me. So I'm gonna send something out, making everyone aware that we have the clear cutting bylaw, the perimeter vegetation bylaw. With the definitions of what clear cutting is and what a legacy tree is and things like that, so we'll be able to send that
That's
out. And the other thing is, Mary knows this already, but we did get a grant from the state for $150,000 to do work on Holmes Road, a master plan for Holmes
oh,
Road.
that's great.
That's just awesome.
That's excellent.
So, and I didn't realize this, but what they do is they have consultants, like house doctor consultants on retainer or whatever. So they, I don't have to do the procurement. They basically pair us up with.
Fabulous.
Where in the
appropriate
state,
consultants.
so, like what division in the state, where does that come from?
Well, it's through the one stop for growth.
I think it's the economic development.
It's economic development.
Yeah, they kind of
Mhm.
did this one stop thing, it's an umbrella, and then they kind of like, you apply for a grant and they put it into the program. So I think it was site readiness grant. So, I requested that they consider, so it's Holmes Road.
Coming all the way down to 6. Like connecting through.
Yeah, so
Going that way.
what I'm waiting to hear is, whether I can expand the geographic area a little bit. They were skeptical about having more of the DCPC, but what I asked is if we could include Main Street Mercantile, the Blue Dolphin, the Sheraton, and the Atlantic Oaks, because that's the part that connects back up to Route 6, or we're looking at the roadway. So I'm hoping they'll like let us just include that, because then we can.
Excellent.
So hoping I mean, we'll probably have a consultant after the holidays and then that work will start, so.
That's great.
Good. Okay, thank you, Paul, for that update. That was great progress.
And just one other update. Paul's been working on the Affordable Housing Trust and with the seasonal communities. And the seasonal communities has setting up a not trust, committee for full-time. I'm looking
Yeah,
for words.
I may have misinterpreted that, so
Okay,
the issue is with seasonal communities, we can set up a housing trust, the general housing trust doesn't have to be affordable.
right,
I have to double check if they meant the trust as in just the trust money
right,
or the entity.
right,
I was reading it that you can have a housing trust
Right.
entity, which could do all the things the housing trust
Right.
does, the affordable trust. But I was rereading it, wasn't clear, so either way, we will have a mechanism to take in money
right,
to it, but I don't know if it goes to the
And-
committee itself.
right. And the housing production plan is due to be up this year. And so what we, again, with Paul's help, talked about, instead of focusing just on the state required capital A, affordable housing, lower income housing, to really make it, an Eastham housing plan and look at, all types of housing that we need and make it a much more robust document, so, and useful. So that's great. We're working on an RFP for someone to assist to help him with that. Yeah,
And it'd be, and I know I send these things off to you all the time when I see another town doing
Right.
something, and it's sort of like when you do your assessment, I know the standard housing production plan,
yeah, this
Tends
will go
to
way
be-
beyond that.
but the innovations, whether it's, just a variety of things that I've been sending you to,
Yeah.
whether, I mean, we have lease to locals, we have ADUs, we have a few things in the pie, but
Yeah,
there's some other things.
I was looking at Orleans town warrant. I forget if it's this week. I don't-
Last night was the special town meeting.
Yeah, their special town meeting. They have several housing things on there.
Did they?
Yeah.
Take a peek at that.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
Okay.
To adjourn.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you all. Take care. 309?
Only 8 minutes.
That's good. For us.
For us, I know.
Maybe the room, maybe someone's waiting on the room.
I'm waiting on the room.
No?
Oh, no, that's Rich Bevan.
So I can put in the minutes that Tom is now.
He's a former member. He was sworn in
Yeah.
for life.
Yes.
Yeah.
He missed his first meeting.
He missed his
Uh,
first meeting.
One meeting and he's out.